Hi everyone, how's it going today? I'm really excited to tell you about a new video that I want to start doing. It's not necessarily something I think that everyone is going to love, but I'm a graphic designer if you haven't picked that up yet. I talk about it fairly often when I'm reviewing books. I just was looking at some book covers the other day and how much I like them or dislike them, and I was like, what would be fun is if I sat down with a camera and reviewed as a graphic designer with my own personal taste as a graphic designer the book cover front to back and talked about it with you and talked about why I liked it, why I disliked it, or whatever. So that's what today is going to be about. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be fun for me. If you enjoy artsy type of book content, you're probably going to get that here a little bit because I'm an artist part-time. So let's just get started on it. Okay guys, so the first book I'm going to talk about with you today is going to be There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. Now, this book was one that I found on sale at Books A Million for like $5-6 in their clearance section, so I wasn't sure what to expect. I did see a couple of booktubers hauling this, but no one had really talked about it, or the ones that did talk about it were kind of vague and did not really dive into it, so I'm guessing it wasn't perfect. So I'm going to also compare the story with the cover because I'm only going to review covers of books that I have already read so that I can say if it is cohesive with the story, because a lot of people just farm out their graphic design to someone who has never read the story, and I kind of think that's important that someone understands, even though I logically know that a graphic designer who does this professionally is not going to have the time probably to read all of the books that they design for. But I still kind of think that's important, and that's just a personal preference. So first, with the front of this cover, I want to address the font because it is the prevalent imagery on this cover. There's a thick sans serif font, and I think that it has a really neat texture around the edges of it, around the ends of, like the very edges of the letters. I think that they're interesting and they look like they're projected and they bend around the background and the foreground of the staircase and the wall. I like that effect. I think this cover overall is really good. I love the color scheme. I think that it makes sense to the story based off of our main guy who is suspected to be the killer. Weird in this small town because he just dyed his hair like a neon pink. So I think that that makes a lot of sense. Also, it goes with the inside, excuse me for a second. It goes with the inside right here with these pages, and the front and back are also pink. So I really like that a lot. I think that that is a strength of a book when it's making sense to the story. The image of the front cover is the only thing that I'm not 1000% on. I don't hate it, but I think that, yes, they are in someone's house. The whole story is about you're trying to figure out who this killer is, and people are thinking that they're going crazy because they keep finding things in their house open or closed or missing or misplaced or upside down, just really strange happenstances within their home, and they don't know if they're crazy and they're doing these things and they don't realize it, or if someone is in their house. And I think that that's a really fun idea. It's very Fear Street-y, in my opinion, very R.L. Stine feel to it. And I think that this cover is more modern and interesting than R.L. Stine covers were. Now, granted, they're some of my favorite book covers, but they are outdated. And this one, I'm not sure if it will date poorly because it is so simple. So that is a plus of this. But that image in the background is very vague. Like, it's just part of a staircase. But also, you kind of get what's going on. And it's, I think that there could have been other images that might have been better, but that is literally just a preference. You'll find that in these types of videos, it's 100% preference. Someone may absolutely review something way better than I ever could. And they may love a book cover that I hate or hate a book cover that I love, because as an artist, as a graphic designer, we all had different training, we all had different outlooks in art, and art is different to every person. And I think that no one is 100% right and no one is 100% wrong. But this is just my opinion. little disclaimer out there. But yeah, I love the font choice. I love the effect on the font. I do kind of hate this little area right here where the R in your is cut off in a way that doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that that is consistent with the effect of the projector look here. So that's literally probably my only real critique of this. I do like the glow of the pink. It's almost like someone has a light over on the side that we're standing where the photo was taken. So I really, really like this cover, the front at least. And the flap, let's look at that too. The flap is very simple. It makes sense to me and I can read it very clearly, white or pink on black. Very simple, nothing super decorative on it, but it's readable and the font is a good choice and a good size. Now the back of the book, it's the same concept. You can even start to see a texture of the wallpaper behind the staircase, like where there's like this florally ornate pattern. I can't really describe what this pattern is called, but everyone's pretty familiar with it, like an old home with old wallpaper. And that makes me think of the main character's grandmother who she lives with, and you know, older people who live in older homes with older wallpaper designs. So I think that's pretty consistent as well. It's got this nice little ombre pink tone going through the center. Not really making it symmetrical, but symmetry is not always appealing to the eye, whether we think it is or not. Asymmetry is actually my preference as long as it's done well, and I think this is a really good example of that. We've got the barcode at the bottom, just basic. And then we've got the same pink and white font, and it is very easily read, even pink on pink. I think that they did a good job of picking the perfect colors to go over the same color, because I can easily read all of the fonts on here. And we've got our quotes, and it looks okay, you know? There's not a synopsis super much on the back, but enough for us to get an idea of what people think of the book. And I like the centering of the font. Sometimes people choose to left align their stuff or right align, or they just let it go justified like a normal thing. But centering to me is more appealing and it gives a better shape to the page. Like we've got this nice womanly shaped font going on here, and I think that's very appealing to the eye. And with our other flap, this is the one that has the author on it. It just has this photo where I can't really see her face. I mean, I guess it's not a bad photo, but I've always thought the choice of not looking at the camera was interesting for author photos, but it's not a bad photo. And we've got the nice pink outline on her photo, which I don't honestly prefer, but it's not a bad choice. It's just not something I would have done. The nice pink and white font again. And yeah, I think that it's very successful in its design. And it says on here, the jacket art is by Sean Freeman, 2017. And the jacket design was by Lindsay Andrews. And the author photo is by Destiny Blue. I don't know how you say her name, sorry. This is very, very pretty cover. I think that the people who designed this are very talented. And designing book covers is not super easy. I've done a few of them, but only in college, so I haven't actually done it professionally. But I can say that it is a challenge, and you have to consider so many things when doing it. So I just wanted to talk about it because I really do love book covers, and they're very important to me as a person who reads. When I initially pick up a book, it's based off of the cover. Like, that is what I go to first. And then I read the synopsis, and then I think about it, and I decide if I want to get it. And also, if people have talked about it, that's also a factor I think about. Overall, I think that the people who did this did a banging job, and they are probably doing great things. I know that I ramble a little bit, but it's pretty hard to critique someone's work who you don't even know, because you don't know them. And there's the spine. It's very lovely, very consistent. I dig it. I'm not a fan of fonts that read like this. I like fonts on books to read sideways because I just think that that's how they're supposed to be done, but that's a personal preference as well. But this one does it the way that I like it, so yeah, very good. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this book cover review. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you understand why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it just to pick at someone or to prove anything. This is just a fun idea that I thought would be an interesting thing for me to do, because once you get out of art school, you kind of stop critiquing other people's work and you stop being critiqued. And I think that it's important to critique others' work, because then you learn a lot more about yourself and about your own design choices. And I think that with typography, I could use some work. I've always had a little bit more issue with typography than illustrative or photography or anything like that. So I like to study things like this and think about my own work and compare and contrast and see where I could improve as a person. So this is more of a self-discovery kind of project for me, not so much a crapping on some other designer or someone who works really hard doing what they do, maybe what they love, you know? So don't take this the wrong way. This is just for funsies, and I thought it would be really fun to have a discussion with you guys. If you're a graphic designer, or if you just like book covers, or if you never even thought about it, tell me what you think about this book cover in the comments below if you want to have that discussion. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.